Hello, friends. Welcome to the Performance Lounge podcast, formerly the Fit for Function podcast. To be honest, nothing's changed other than a bit of brand identity, and we thought it was quite fitting given the topic that we're going to cover today. So let's just quickly touch on the name change, then we'll move on. As the podcast has expanded and we've covered more ground, it very much started off as kind of a wellness podcast, I think, then kind of evolved into like human performance. And then it sort of grew to cover the bases that Dynamic 22 and the Dynamic brand covers, which is, of course, still wellness and health and performance. But we started to talk a lot more about business growth, social media strategy, not just making humans perform better, but making your businesses perform better as well. So we are now the Performance Lounge, and I fucking love it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I do too. It just clicked, and we've been umming and ahhing about names for so long, and when you mentioned this one today, it was like slam dunk.
Yeah.
Immediate. Yeah. Yeah, that's the name change, and I think it's really fitting because we're all things performance, and we are in our lounge. So that in itself is really, really fitting.
Yeah.
But introduce today's podcast.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so a little bit of background very quickly. A few weeks ago, you and I, we recorded a podcast
Yes.
around the concept of how to utilize social media to grow and enhance your business. We very quickly, after the podcast, just felt, whilst we were happy with what we spoke about, we just felt
it felt heavy.
It felt really fucking heavy.
Yeah, it was a lot of information, and we're very passionate about this topic.
We are, and we felt, honestly, we didn't do a good enough job in making it digestible for the listener.
Yeah, I don't think you would have walked away with much clarity on where to start. There was so much information, like it was very, very dense. But we didn't feel like we had achieved the outcome that we set out for doing on this podcast with that specific episode. So
yeah, I agree. So what we've decided to do is break that podcast up into 3 separate episodes, which cover some fundamentals. So today we're going to talk about getting started on social media. If you're a business owner or you're looking to launch a side hustle, transition your side hustle into a main hustle, as we've both done.
Yeah. Or just wanting to grow your social media presence.
Yeah, that too. I think it's really important, regardless now, to have a social media presence, have a personal brand. Episode 2, very quickly, we'll touch on what the episodes are, but episode 2 will be more about what to post.
Yeah.
Getting into the actual nitty gritty of kind of creating content. Episode 3 will be on data and analytics. So how to read the data that's coming back at you from the social media platforms in order to then perform against them and leverage them and
utilize them.
So let's start getting started on social media. Bex, why is it important look, and by the way, we're coming at this from the point of view of business and businesses. So that's kind of how we're focusing on this.
But with that, by the way, even if you're an individual like me who has a personal brand, sometimes it feels like you don't have a business, but you are a business. So regardless of whatever niche you're in, you are a business. And I think that was a bit of a turning point for me when you really helped me with that, when you were like, you need to start seeing yourself as a business, because sometimes when you're using your own name or just a one-man band, you forget that you're a business. So just to talk to your point of we are really talking at this from a business perspective, but if you are selling a product, you are a business.
Yeah, and the bottom line is everything that Bex and I are going to talk to you about today, whilst it's about scaling your brand, is about generating revenue, making money. Because if you're not making money, you don't have a business. You kind of have a not-for-profit at best. So,
or you just have an indulgent social media. There is that too,
which is also fine, but it doesn't make money. Well, it does in some very niche circumstances. But okay, let's get started. Social media. I think before we even get into posting online and worrying about content, fundamentally, before you get started, I think you need to be really clear on what your product or service is. You should have it very clearly marked out.
Yeah.
And as such, if someone asks you what you do or what your business does, you should be, in 1 or 2 sentences, be able to very clearly outline what it is your business does. So Bex, I'll put you on the spot.
Mm.
Any one of your businesses, just pick one off the top of your head.
My personal brand, so
Sure.
Becky Dunn Fitness, all about helping polers get stronger for pole or aerial acrobatics or whatever discipline they do.
Yeah, great.
That's in a nutshell what I do.
Yeah.
I can evolve on that, but
Yeah.
if I like to, I heard a saying once, I think it's really, really good, that if you can't explain a topic as if you were talking to a toddler, you don't know it.
Yeah, or you don't understand it.
You don't
Yeah,
understand it.
I
Yeah, you
agree.
don't understand
Yeah.
it is a way better put. So I think being able to explain what you do in the most simplest form to any age is a good way.
Yeah.
It's a good way to think about it.
And if you can't explain it, then you don't really know, and it gets a bit wishy-washy. And then as we get down the line of creating content, it becomes very, very hard to create content that is accurate and going to hit the marks that you need it to. You should be able to, as I said, clearly outline and clearly discuss with someone what it is your product does. And then as a follow-on, I always call it the so what. Rob, what do you do? I help businesses scale, operate better, and generate more revenue, right? So what? What is the point? What are the benefits of that? Well, your business runs more smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to run around like a blue-ass fly. You make more money. Your business makes more money. In your case, you help polers get fitter, stronger. So what? Well, then they're more confident on the pole. They're safer. They are able to hit the cool tricks. They're able to perform better in competitions or routines or performances. So there has to be a so what. And once you've got that outlined, then we can move on to cool. Who's your target audience or your target market? Did you want to talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think before we move on to that, if you're a very visual learner like I am, in order, this from a couple of projects that we've done together, in order for me to move forward with an idea or a brand or whatever it might be, I need the visuals first. I need to visually be able to see it, and I think bullet pointing this stuff down or brainstorming or whatever it might be and having that, so that it's all well and good it being in here, but you sometimes need to put it down onto paper so that then you can start to create and move forward with your brand. So literally, what is your product? Brainstorm, really be able to fine line it and get it down to a niche. Make sure it's clear what are the benefits that you're offering, and writing that all down. And then you can start to move into your target audience. So who is your target audience? Who's your customer going to be? And really, again, fine tuning that. You can go right down to the detail. Like for me, looking at I've been an online coach now for 3-4 years. Actually, if I was to get really, really specific, and I know this wouldn't really make sense for maybe a lot of people, but for me in my industry, it does. My actual target audience is like the intermediate poler.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my market is for all pole and aerialists and a bit of gem population, but gem population don't really manage to get into my algorithm too much because I have niched down so much. But when I look at the specifics, I'm actually really targeting people that already have a love for pole and have that desire to want to get stronger. So they're not at the beginning of their journey anymore. So again, I'm not going to go too specific because it's not going to make sense to a lot of people, but you really want to try and fine tune your target audience. Who are you selling to?
Yes.
Because they are going to be the people that buy your product.
I totally agree. And just to your point, just to kind of, I don't want to deviate too much. We did that on the first attempt. But,
Yeah.
But, if you are someone who is, let's say you're a guitar teacher, right? You are not selling, well, you might be, but it's very unlikely you're going to be selling to Eric Clapton or Slash.
I don't know who these people are.
Okay. Great guitarists. You're going to probably be teaching bar chords to beginner to intermediate guitarists, for example.
Yeah.
So once we know who they are, we now need to know where to find them. And that's when I think understanding what platforms are going to work best for you is really going to resonate.
Can I just add here, when I started building my brand at the start, my target audience was totally different to the audience that I now create content for.
Okay.
So that's just, again, your target audience can change depending on sort of the outcome and feedback that you get from your content, which as we progress through these series will start to make a bit more sense. But just because you think, I think you're a great example of this. What you thought all the content that you've been putting out, where you thought you were going to go in the direction that you were going, is actually completely different.
Yeah, mostly different.
Slightly,
it is different, for sure.
So I think, you have to be open to change with your target audience too, who actually your audience, you might think that you're creating content for a certain target audience, but actually the comments and, the engagement that you get are from a slightly different audience. And then you might be like, oh, okay, well, I have to. So yeah, be always open to change, but starting with a target audience is great. Would you agree with that?
I would. I mean, for context, Amazon started as a online bookstore, didn't they?
Yes.
Right. And they were really fucking slick at the delivery piece, the worldwide delivery piece, and were then, as such, able to branch out into selling all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
It's, the Amazon product wasn't books; it was their shipping. So and that's very, as you said, with me, it's evolved and it's evolved and it's evolved and landed here where I am now in my market. So
I just want to add something here. You can also create different pieces of content for different target audiences.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take my industry because it's a little bit more easier for me to translate. So pole is in the general population I make content for. And then I make content for people trying to learn how to climb. And then I make content for people who might want to be doing some flips, who might want to be getting strong. So there's different little cohorts of target audience, like you can niche right down. So I think that's a really, really good starting point. And that again will feed into your brainstorming of the products and services that you offer. Who is going to benefit from that?
Yes. And so to circle back then to platforms.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Where do you find these people? If you are somebody who is selling, if you are an architect, a self-employed architect, or you run an architectural firm, there's lots you can do on Instagram and TikTok, but probably where you want to be positioning yourself might be LinkedIn, where you're going to find other people in
Your
a similar
field.
trade. If you are selling a fashion product, well then TikTok and TikTok and Instagram might be a better fit for you.
Yeah.
If you are somebody who sells tutorials, then you might, again, it could be a music tutorial. I know you deliver tutorials on pole tricks and other things. So perhaps YouTube's going to be a better platform for you. So you're going to have to basically find out where your target audience lives, and then you're going to have to go and hunt them down and start putting your content in front of them. And whilst we're on that, you're also going to have to speak their language and walk their walk and talk their talk. I think is very important. So do you look like them? Do you sound like them?
Yeah.
I think that's crazy important, right?
And you resonate with them. It's very, very interesting. But the main platforms to answer the question is YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram. And I think there's a place for all of them. And I think if you can dominate all of them, or maybe dominate is a bit of a stretch of a word because we're just starting out on social media, but don't just shoot your shot at one platform. Try all of them, because if one went down or if one isn't working, you've got so many different audiences on so many different platforms. So try all of them. There are some more as well, isn't there? There's like Threads that's attached to Instagram. You've got Snapchat, which is slightly a younger demographic.
Reddit seems to be quite important. You've got
Facebook. I forgot Facebook. I forget about Facebook.
You've got Substack if you're less of a video person, but you can write great articles. You've got Substack. You've got Discord if you just want to do audio. So you're going to have to do the research. You're going to have to put in the work and find out where your people are. But, I know we've not even got onto social media really here, but those first points, like what is your product? What does it do? And so what? And then where are your people? I think is incredibly important.
But I think it then this is what it does for me anyway. It starts to provide you with an identity of where you're going to be moving forward. So again, having the visuals in place before you even start to move forward or start creating content, like what are you creating content for? Who are you creating content for? And what are you going to be doing? You know what? So all of these are really important. But I think that, did you want to say any more on platforms?
No, I don't think so. I think I just really wanted to hammer home the early point of understanding who you are before you can tell anyone else who you are. I
Definitely.
think that's really important. And then, like I say, going and finding where your target audience hang out on what platforms, and then also just, by the way, learning those platforms.
Oh, you just took it out of my mouth.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you can finish
No,
it.
no.
That was exactly what I was going to say, is you have to go and learn the platform.
Yeah.
So I know so many people, I'm speaking really in my industry, that didn't move over to TikTok, still haven't really moved over to TikTok because they don't understand how to use it. You didn't know how to ride a bike, but you learn. And it's the same with the platforms. I know Facebook, because we've had Facebook since the dawn of time.
Mhm. It
But
feels like it anyway.
and then Instagram. Okay, you can make sense of Instagram a little bit, but what about TikTok? Oh my God, it's a brand new platform. It doesn't make sense. All the young kids are on here, and that's not the case. Like you have to. I think anything with business, if you want to grow and evolve and have a successful business, you have to be open to learn and understand that there's areas in your knowledge that's a weakness. And unfortunately, when you start a business, you don't have somebody that you're probably not in a position that you can pay somebody to do your social media,
Yeah.
that understands it and knows what they're talking about. So you have to go and learn it. So, that's what we spoke about a little bit, wasn't it? About in the first podcast, is just spending any free time that you've got, just understanding and learning about the platforms. You can go and watch YouTube videos on that. It's really important.
Yeah, and I think, look, you either do or you don't. The industry, your market doesn't really give a shit whether you like TikTok or not. If you're not on there, then
You're not going to be seen.
you're not going to be seen, or whatever the particular.
Mm.
There's this really, and we get it when we speak to, as part of our business and social media growth consultancy that we offer. When we speak to people plus 45, generally it's well, I don't really believe in social media. Well, it exists, so fucking believe in it. I don't care what your opinion is on it. Businesses don't have opinions. We talk about that a lot. So you either get with it or you don't, and that's cool if you don't, but don't be pissed off when the guy or the girl that got with it early or is putting in the work
It's
is succeeding and you're not, because it is the future. The genie's out the bottle. We're not going back to billboards. So I think that's really important, that you take the time to learn the platform. And by learn the platform, right, I don't just mean scrolling aimlessly. Don't get lost in a social media black hole. Specifically go in and, if you are a personal trainer, or you are, you have an apparel brand or whatever it is, go and spend hours looking at what others in your marketplace are doing. I think this is also really important, just on a side note, right? Because I've seen it with content of people that I don't know. Because you've built such a large platform now and you are so consistent with your social media posting, don't copy people. It's okay to take inspiration, but I'll be on social media and I will see something. I'll be like, oh, that's literally what Bex did 2 days ago. I've seen people just take and rinse and repeat because it worked for you, and they'll get an all right result from it. I've seen from the numbers, but the big thing is it lacks authenticity. It's obvious that it's just a straight copy. So guys, don't do that, because it hurts you more than you think. You might think you're copying someone who's quite successful on this platform, but actually it just makes it look like you don't really have any original ideas or any real kind of like authenticity. Like I said, I think I think that's very, very, it doesn't land the same, and it's not a good look, and it's hurting you more than it's helping you, I promise.
So on that, with platforms, before we move on, I think it's understanding, like really stripping it back even further, like really simple stuff, like how do you upload an image? How do you upload a video? What can you do within the app? So what are the options for music? What are the options for editing? What are the options for, any additional features like stories? understanding what a carousel is on Instagram, understanding what a reel is. If you can go live, what does that mean? How does that work? On TikTok, you've got various different things as well. You've got loads of options when you upload on TikTok. You've got loads of options down the side. What does that mean? Just taking your time to familiarize yourself with the platform. How do you search? How do you find out what's trending? Small little details like this, and it's something actually that we've done previously. We work with a lot of startup businesses where we've had consultation calls, and literally all we've done at a base level is talk them through how to use an app or a specific platform, because it can be very, very overwhelming. So just understand the platform in its entirety. I know it sounds really silly, but how do you upload?
Mhm.
And what does that look like? So, and in what format too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's different stuff there. And that moves nicely into, this feels like it might be coming in quite late into the conversation, but we just want to touch a little bit on about setting up an account, because once you have an identity or a brand, I'm going to give an amazing example because this happened to me. So this is a really, really good example. Anyone who knows me or follows me knows that I do Strong and Sexy. I've got I do the Strong and Sexy empowerment shoots. Strong and Sexy has been a LED sign in my studio since I opened it back in 2022 or 23, 22. And it's become a bit of a trademark for me. I have actually trademarked Strong and Sexy, but I can't get the Instagram handle. So the Instagram handle is absolutely shite. It is like strong.is_sexy_, I think, something like that, because I can't get the original handle because it's been taken. Now, at the point of where I was when I was launching Strong and Sexy as an Instagram page, I was like, I don't really care because I've already got the businesses well established.
Yeah.
However, if you are new to social media, which is really what this podcast is about, and let's say my product was, my service was Strong and Sexy, I was going to be doing photo shoots, coaching with this. I've already got my target audience. I know what platforms I'm going to use. Well, right now, is the handle available? So the handle that we're referring to is the @ or how you would search someone on a platform. So for me, my Instagram handle is @BeckyDunn. And yours is @Rob22XXII.
In line with the
So when
branding.
I went to set up an Instagram handle for Strong and Sexy, it was taken. So then if you have got, and actually we can talk to it with the podcast, right?
I was laughing about it. Yeah.
So
That's exactly right.
we had so many names that we actually did agree on for the podcast. Every single one that we liked, that we were like, that's the one. The Instagram handle was taken. Or
Not just
no,
the Instagram handle,
from a podcast, it was.
Yeah,
It was taken on.
already taken.
It was taken on Spotify as a standing podcast. So once you've got your
On
brand,
that, sorry, can I just jump in though? Because what's actually really funny is that we finally landed on the Performance Lounge, which we fucking love, really love. And then it dawned on us like, shit, I don't know if this is available on social media. Like we literally, before this episode, we changed the handle of Fit for Function to the Performance Lounge. And I was like, oh, okay, fine, it's good. And I was like, shit, I still need to update this on YouTube and Spotify, and a quick panic change, and it luckily it was there. But yeah, so do what we say, not what we do on this, because we've made these mistakes. But hey, that's part of being able to mentor and guide, is that we've made these mistakes previously.
And listen, if you are happy with the alternative, so let's say I went to go set up a social media account called Becky Dunn and it was taken, which it would be now, but I could get Becky Dunn 18 or Becky Dunn 15 or whatever the number is, and you were happy with that, that's fine. It's just, if I was setting up Strong and Sexy and it was taken, that would be there is nothing close to the Instagram handle.
It's not the end of the world, but it's not great. It's a bit like
that's how people search you as well, and how you're searched.
There was that really famous scene on The Apprentice a few years back where this lady was talking about, that kind of, when they get that one-on-one interview and they absolutely get battered. And this guy said to this lady, so remind me, what's the name of your company? She said, name of my company. He said, cool, okay. And you have the domain? You've bought the domain, the website? And she said, oh, no, I'm going to do that. He said, well, what if someone else had bought it? She said, oh, that would be bad. He said, it is bad because I've bought it. I bought yourcompany.com.co.uk, .net, and he had just bought them all up just to prove a point that, like, you've got to be on this shit because it is your identity, it's your brand identity.
Mhm.
You're never going to have up on your studio wall strong dot
No,
underscore is,
no.
you know what I mean? So it's strong and sexy. So I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I think handles are really important. They're not the end of the world. You
They
can work around, but it doesn't look great.
they aren't the end of the world if you've got something that, like, it's just a little bit off. Like, if you need to add
Yeah.
maybe an underscore at the end, for example, not the end of the world, but, like, if you can get your name clean in line with your brand, you don't see Nike being NIK.E because I
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah,
get the
exactly. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
couldn't get the social media handle.
Yeah.
So that's something as well. And then with setting up your account, regardless of the platform, and I'll let you talk to this, Rob,
Mm-hmm.
you're always going to have your Instagram handle. That's just 101 anyway. Oh, sorry, your handle. That's always going to be your name, or it might be generated for you, which you can then go in and edit. You're then going to have your bio, and then you're going to have the option to set up links. So do you want to talk a little bit more to that?
Yeah, I will just touch on handles. One more thing. LinkedIn works slightly differently. LinkedIn's cool because it's just your name. So if you typed
Yeah.
in Rob Dunn, there'd be a million Rob Dunns that come up.
Yeah.
And then you can go to that specific profile and then you can see, what they do. So, but I know in the traditional sense of social media handles, that's right.
So if there's another Rob Dunn, will it allow you? Can you
Yeah,
just create multiple names?
yeah. Because that Rob Dunn, when you go onto his profile,
It's a completely different.
he won't have
Yeah.
so you'll
Yeah.
see when you log onto mine, you'll see all the stuff that I'm involved in, all the businesses and
Mhm.
what I've done previously. That's very unique to me. It's like kind of like a fingerprint, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, links. Okay, so
Start with the bio first. I think
okay,
bio is the nicest way because it's
yeah.
part of the setup.
So when you click onto a profile, again, whether that's LinkedIn, whether that's Instagram, TikTok, or wherever it is, you're obviously going to have your name, and then you're going to need a little bio. It's very important that your bio is concise and delivers against what you actually do. So mine's very simple. I think mine currently says building better humans, building better businesses.
Mhm.
And I think that kind of gives you a bit of a flavor. It doesn't tell you exactly what it is, but it gives you an insight and it's catchy. I quite like it. But you really want to just have a little something in there. I think yours is something along the lines of, international strength and conditioning coach,
Mhm.
working in the pole space, blah, 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 blah. Just give them, it's a bio. Fuck me. You know what a bio is, guys, right? So just write a bio. Don't make it too wordy.
You
Don't
can
make it
change
too
it as well.
clever.
I've changed my bio so many times.
You can chop and change. Absolutely. I think that's really important that you stay fluid in that regard. And it will give you an opportunity to then also provide links. Now, that could be links to a website. That could be links to Linktree is very useful. So write that
Linktree is
down and just go and have a
fantastic.
little look at Linktree. It allows you to have one link. And when you click the link, you'll have lots of different sublinks within it that are named and you can logo them as well, which will then allow people to go off and find you in different places, whether it's, in our case, our podcast or plans or consultancy services, and it would direct them to be it a landing page or a website. I think that's really, really important because without those, and I'm saying this right now whilst mine's under construction, so I currently don't have them. I'm working on it. I've just gone for a bit of a rebrand myself, so I want it to look a certain way. So it's down momentarily, but you got to remember that what we're actually doing here when we're creating social media content is lead generation. And you need to have a way of capturing those leads. You need to have a net or a bucket to capture them so you can have conversations with them and hopefully convert them. So I think that's really important that it stands out, it's bold, it signals what you do. And then obviously you utilize the links option to drive traffic to wherever you need to drive it to in order to convert.
Well, yeah, it's a really good way of thinking about that, actually. Like, if you've worked in sales or marketing before, predominantly sales, actually, I'm speaking just for sales. If you've worked in sales, we've worked in very different sales. We've worked in the same, but you
Yeah,
worked in cold sales
I
where
have.
you had to go get the leads yourself.
Yeah.
Where when I worked in my sales job, there was a various mix of cold and warm and hot leads, but the leads were given to me.
Yeah.
you don't get given leads when you work for yourself.
No.
You know, like I'm an online coach. I help people get stronger, but where are those leads coming from? I've got to generate them. Well, if somebody wants to work with me, how are they going to work with me? And I think you have to take a bit of a bird's eye view or an objective look at your page, whatever social media platform that's on, and really look at it from a customer's perspective. Like, if I wanted to work with you, how do I work with you, and how do I contact you? And if that is, let's say that takes me to a website, and that website's really clunky. You've got to remember that this is your shop front. And if it doesn't look good across every step of the way, every part of the customer journey, they're just gonna come away from your profile. And that's just fact. That's just the way it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
If there's any part of your journey which is like a bit bullshit, where you're trying to contact somebody and it doesn't flow very nicely, or it's just difficult, you're like, oh, fuck this.
Yeah, I really like the analogy of the shop front. It gets talked about a lot in social media marketing. And let me put it to you in very simple terms. I'm not trying to patronize, but I want to really make this clear. You decide to go for a meal with your partner, right?
Mm-hmm.
This restaurant is off the beaten track. It's poorly signposted. It takes fucking forever to find it. You pull up and it looks run down on the outside. It looks old. It looks dated. And you're like, oh, okay. You get inside and you don't know if it's like one of those, do I just go and take a table? Do I wait to be seated? But no one comes to greet you. Do you know what I mean? And there's all these things standing in your way. And eventually you're going to be like, you know what? Let's just go and eat somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how it works with your social media. You've done the hard work from your content to get them to convert. To get them to inquire or follow a link or hit your landing page. You've got to then make that process as streamlined as possible.
Or even stripping it back further, how do you capture them? They've come to your page. How are you capturing these people that might be interested in working for you? And that's what a link is going to do.
Yeah,
because the link's going to take you somewhere, whether ideally to a landing page.
Yes. So at every stage, I just want to just go back and go back and go back, just so we can consolidate where we've got to, because I'm just really conscious of how we felt the last podcast came out, right? So again, number one, what is your product or service? Be very clear on it. Understand what it is. Be able to eloquently put that across. I think it's very important. After you've identified what your product or service is, who's most likely to buy your product or service, and where are they hanging out?
Mm-hmm.
What platforms? And then go to them. Go and make content for them, but identify where they are and then go to them. Make sure you look like them and you speak like them. Number 3, setting up your account. Making sure that your handle is sharp and it is you or as close to as you possibly can. That when people land on your page, your bio is clean. It says exactly what you do. It's a case of does what it says on the tin, and that you then have an option for them to click and buy or click and engage through a link or through a landing page or through a website. So you can start to, lead generate, but also there'll be some data in that. You'll be able to see how many people have clicked and landed on your page. And then you'll be able to identify that, okay, what I'm doing at the moment is working, or how can we increase that? So that's 1, 2, 3. We talked about in there as well, sandwiched in, do your research, understand your platforms, understand what the landscape of the market looks like, see what people are doing in your market and what's performing well and what isn't. Don't copy, take inspiration. And then I think all I really think we should maybe talk about then is the actual posting. Now, we will do a full episode on what to post and the different styles, but I'd just like to talk about posting in the early days, because between this episode you're watching or listening to, don't fucking wait. You still need, just put some stuff out there, and we'll talk you through the very, very first steps of how to do that. So Bex, you were quite animated in our pre-podcast meeting about this, and I loved what you were saying. So would you like to run with this?
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason why I was animated, definitely, is because we've just given you all this information, and we know it because from our clients, from speaking to clients firsthand. And exactly what Rob said, now you're in a position where once all that's set up, start posting. But I know that posting is the hardest part, and it's the part that's the most overwhelming. And even though you've got your information on how to set everything up, that still doesn't actually help you with what or when to post. Now, our next podcast on what we're going to call it, posting for social media. You had a name for it. You broke
I
it down
think
into
I think we were just going to call it what to post or how to. I think it was what to post.
We are going to do one of this in like real detail, but something that I wanted to leave you guys with and for you to take away, it does link back into that research. So start to research people that are doing the same thing as you, whether that's locally, internationally, whatever it might be. Start to get a feel of the content that they're putting out. Are they putting out posts that sit on their grid? Are they putting out videos? Are they putting out photos? Just start to get a feel for what other people are doing. And something that I actually really wanted to leave you guys with is some apps that are really, really beneficial. So you don't have to do this alone. So every video or photo that you see on Instagram is very likely would have been edited in some capacity. And it's probably, there's a couple of apps you might want to add some more here. There's loads and loads and loads of apps. And this is probably one of the questions that I get asked the most actually, is what app are you using? I love CapCut. CapCut's amazing.
CapCut.
And it's probably something, if you're on TikTok at the moment, or you've been, you would have seen it on TikTok, because their templates that they use, which again we'll speak about in the next podcast, links directly into TikTok. So if you're using one of their templates, you can upload it straight to TikTok. So CapCut is an amazing one. I really, really like that. I buy the professional version for like £10 a month, £20 a month, something like that, because you get all the features. So if you're editing videos, especially if you're doing short form, it can be really, really good. You get loads of animations and stuff like that you can use, but you don't have to pay for it. It's just good if you find an app that you really like. InShot, I really, really like. So InShot, I actually pay for both, because InShot was the app that I first ever used and is still my go-to for editing. So I'll edit.
I don't like InShot.
I edit all of my videos. I'm so fast on InShot at editing, and then I put them into CapCut to do a final edit. So a little bit backwards, but for me, I like InShot for the quickness of the editing, especially because I'm chop videoing. It's really easy for me on InShot, and then I do my final edit in CapCut where I do my captions and stuff like that. So InShot and CapCut are my two favorite for video editing, and then I think Canva is a non-negotiable for a business owner, and pay for pro. Again, I know that, it's all these additional costs, and you find this along the way when you have a business. You start just you, and you're like, well, I can do this, I don't really need a lot, and then actually you realize you need all these additional services. Canva is absolutely incredible. Go and learn how to use Canva. So even if you listen to this and you take a few things away, one of them be go and learn how to use Canva, because there is so much that can be done. You can video edit in Canva. I've done a little bit of video editing, but predominantly photos. And they've got pre-made templates for you. And they're so easy. I think you have to be a little bit careful, because it's really obvious of some logos and some posts what have come from Canva. I think that's really, really evident.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah,
you see fonts all the time, don't you? Like, that's a Canva font.
I'll point them out as we're driving along. I'll be like, that's off of Canva.
It's normally the swirly ones, the ones that are really feminine that we really like. But Canva is an amazing tool, because you can start to see what you like and build your own. But again, it's very, very overwhelming if you don't know what you're doing. But there's tutorials. There's like a 30-minute tutorial, 20-minute tutorial on YouTube. Go and watch it. Like, you have to understand this stuff to be able to do it. So they're my top ones: CapCut, InShot, and Canva.
That's Canva, Canva.
I pay for pro on all of them, because the features are much, much better. But just pick one and run with it. Loads of people use other stuff. But my biggest bugbear, by the way, my biggest bugbear is, if you're going to use InShot, take out the watermark. But again, if you've got it for free, you're probably not going to be able to take out the watermark, which it looks lazy and sloppy on your videos. It doesn't look professional. If you're using it, if you're trialing it, then I sort of get it. But if you know that's the app you like, just buy the pro. And it's the same with the CapCut. Like, CapCut always add what's that bit on the end?
Yeah,
it's like it's almost like closing credits.
Yeah, it's like an ending to it. It's kind of their watermark, actually. So at the end of the video, it goes black and it comes up with their logo across the screen. You can just delete that.
But it can catch you out, because if you don't delete it when you save it,
I've posted stuff with their watermark.
You see it all the time, but it's. I'm not saying you are, but I think it's because I've done it too. I've done it, and I've done it because I've been sloppy.
It looks sloppy, yeah.
So
And it just doesn't look as clean as it could.
Yeah.
And you'll post a video with it.
It's literally not the end of the world.
No.
It really, really isn't the end of the world. But it's small things like this, attention to detail, which set you apart from your competition. So it's really, really important. Loads more apps. Is there any that you use that I don't?
No, that's it. I mean, interestingly, when it comes to content creation, my skill set, as I'm sure you'll attest, I'm a very good ideas guy. Like I understand how fundamentally it should work as a process.
Mm-hmm.
What I want it to say, what I want it to look like, what a response I want it to elicit, what response I want to elicit from the person viewing it.
You're very good at language.
All of that stuff. But actually, in terms of the delivery and the creative side and making it, it's not really my skill set, which is why I think actually that this works really well.
Oh, it does. It really does. Because I will have a loose idea. I take it to you. You're like, do it like this. And then I create it. Like I love content creation. I think that's a really big part of it too with social media. Like you do have to find a little love for it. You really do, because otherwise it's going to become a chore.
Yes. I just want to touch on formats. And again, we'll get deep in this on the next episode, but you can post written word. You can post videos. Again, like you use social media, right? 99%. I mean, if you're watching this, there's a good chance you found us through social media. So you use social media, you know what different types of content there are. Play around with them in the meantime.
And wait for us next episode.
No, don't wait. Don't wait. Fucking post.
No.
Post.
No, post, but I'm saying like play around and then wait until the next episode and we can give you some more guidance. That's what I mean. Don't wait until the next episode.
No,
start posting.
But a couple of things to consider actually before we wrap this up. When you're making content from a business standpoint with the view of making money, generating leads, generating revenue, growing your brand, whatever it might be, you really, really have to remember this, that your social media is not for you. It is not a vanity thing anymore. It's not about posting your nice holidays or how good you look in a bikini, or that actually doesn't solve anyone's problem. So you need to be providing value, advice, answering questions, solving problems. There needs to be something that they take away from your content that is helpful, that is useful. Because fundamentally, I've spoken about this before, when someone is ready to buy, it is you that they'll think of. So you've got to give a lot. You've got to give an awful lot. Your social media is not for you. So have a play around, go and talk about your market, go and talk about your industry, talk about commonly asked questions.
Go and dig that out in the comment section.
Yeah.
People are asking questions all the time in the comment section.
Yes, but you probably want to have to then, what I would perhaps suggest, because you're not going to have any followers or any engagement, I would either go to like an LLM like ChatGPT and say,
what's an LLM?
A large language model. So like a Grok or a ChatGPT or a Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
I would go and say, I manufacture novelty lamps and I'm looking to start a business. Give me 10 or 15 questions that a prospective buyer might have about lamps. I don't know, it's fucking niche, right? But it will give you a bunch of questions and just answer them. Answer those questions.
Yeah.
The best light bulbs for bedroom lamps are whatever it might be. Go and provide some value. I know it's a ridiculous example. It's supposed to be silly. And look, you're going to suck. You're going to suck. And you and I talked about this in the kitchen earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Bex, when you watch Bex's content, it's so clean, it's so polished. She's so comfortable on camera and speaking to camera. It's fair to say that wasn't always the case.
Oh, God, no. No.
You know,
when I first started,
a little bit wooden.
So wooden. When I first started speaking to, I don't even know what really prompted me to start speaking. I mean, you should do it, but what the change was when I was like, I'm going to do it. And I was really wooden because you feel uncomfortable. Now, if you go and watch my Instagram stories, I will talk to you like we're friends going out for coffee. You wouldn't even know that I am I'm just so comfortable and talk with such ease.
Yeah.
But that comes with so much practice. You know, even with like video content, you know, before I would stutter or, you know, I'll tell you what a big part of it, I think as well. I cared a lot about how I looked, and I would, if I didn't have like makeup on, I would, or like at least a good amount of makeup on for the girls that understand that, like just, you know, it was during COVID time, so like, you know what, you would just do like the bare minimum just to be able to look good on webcam. Um, if I didn't feel good, I wouldn't really make content, and I think now I just don't care. I just make it. And I share so much, and I think that comes from building trust. And there's so many benefits to doing that, but you just can't care. Oh, Rob, share that amazing quote. That one, yeah, because like, I I think that's the biggest takeaway. And I know it's so much easier said than done, but you just can't care.
No.
Like, you can't look back in 10 years' time, or a bit like what you were saying, see somebody else locally, or maybe someone else from across the pond doing something that you wanted to do, and then being really successful at it because they just did it and they didn't care what anyone thought. You can't let somebody like that hold you back.
Yeah. There's a couple of quotes, isn't there? There's the somewhere there is someone with half your talent but double your self-esteem making 3 times the money you're making. I really like that. But I know the one you're referring to, and just like on this, right, I can see myself in a little monitor down here, right? I really don't like this outfit, and the light today is making me look even more bold than I already am, because I'm bold on top and I've got my fryer tucked around the outside. It's not a good look. It's not going to look great in content. But I tell you this much: the people laughing at your content are the people that celebrate when their boss lets them leave 10 minutes early. So fuck them.
I think that's a great closing note for this
I agree.
pod. So there we go. You just can't care. And if you do, listen, if you do care and it really means a lot to you, then it probably isn't for you, because you're not going to get very far.
No.
You really
gotta be
won't.
thick-skinned.
You got to be so thick-skinned and just fucking do it, because the outcome and the financial freedom that it could lead to is worth every step of looking like a bit of a fool to become a master.
Yeah, that's another great saying, isn't it? You can't be a graceful master without looking like a foolish beginner.
There we go. 3 amazing quotes to leave you
There
on.
we go. Wrap them up. I'll chop those up as content. So that's going to be so. But just one final thing I will say, Rob, and Bex, I think you'll agree with me on this. Once you get past the hurdle of I don't like how I look, I don't like how I mean, I've got the most monotone voice in the world. I'm very aware.
I think you look great today, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I needed to hear that.
Yeah, I think I was
Appreciate
actually
it.
thinking that on the screen that your outfit looks really nice.
Ah, thank you. We'll chop that up as content too.
Yeah, but if you wouldn't have said it, but this is the thing, right? If you wouldn't have said what you said,
Yeah. That's the thing. No one cares as much as you do.
yeah, but that wasn't even what I was thinking at all. I was actually thinking you look really nice.
Thank you. But yeah, once you overcome those things about how you look and blah blah blah, actually, was that content very good or not? Chances are, if it's your first 50 to 100 pieces of content, probably not great. And that's fine, because it's supposed to not be great. But once you get past all that, I'm going to say something potentially controversial. It's really not that fucking difficult.
No, it's not.
Really not that difficult.
It's so fucking easy. Sometimes I'm sat editing and I'm like, how is this my job? Like, honestly, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. Just to leave you on that. So we've given you a really good overview of where to start, understanding your position and where you want to come from, doing a bit of research, understanding the different platforms, setting up an account, which if you're listening to this, you probably have. But that being said, it might be a personal account. And a lot of people, I made the decision years ago not to separate. I don't have a personal and a business account. And it's the best thing that I've ever done, because I never, ever feel the need to share personal stuff, because my account is so business led. But I share little personal moments on there, but I don't have a personal account. It's just my fitness account.
Yeah.
But like I did with Strong and Sexy, I needed to create another account, or Dynamic when I opened Dynamic. So, that, again, making sure that you can get all the handles that you need. Can you get the domain as well if you want a website, all this type of stuff.
Yes.
And do your research. But other than that, once you've got that research and start to understand what your market's doing, what it needs to look like, go and create, go and have a bit of fun, go and learn. You're going to make mistakes. It's fine. Not everyone's going to be perfect at it. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable to start with. But what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to put out a piece of content and it might not do very well. So what? It's fine.
Yes. If this has been an interesting eye opener for you, I think it's, it'd be crazy for us not to slide in a quick plug of our services. one of the business units that we own and operate is Dynamic 22. It predominantly centers around business growth and social media growth, helping businesses attract and retain leads and clients, generate more revenue, operate more efficiently. So we work with mostly SMEs and startups,
What's SME mean?
small, medium enterprise. So,
That's fine. It's just you're using language that people might not be familiar with.
but if you're an SME, you'll know what it means, and if you're not, you won't. So that's fine. But yeah, if we can offer perhaps some more advice, or you'd like to maybe get a bit more of a one-on-one situation going where we can really deep dive on your situation specifically, please feel free to reach out to Bex or me. As Bex said, it's robdunn.xxii on Instagram or robdunn on LinkedIn.
Mine's at Becky Dunn. Really nice and straightforward. I managed to secure that. That's
Nailed
from the weird spelling of Becky.
It is.
Definitely. But thank you so much, guys. We're already really looking forward to the next one. I think the
Me
next one's
too.
going to be my favorite.
Yeah,
That's absolutely like that's our bag, what to post. But hopefully that gave you a really good flavor if you are brand new to social media and posting. I hope this has given you some really good insight into where to get started. Until next time.
We'll see you next time on the Performance Lounge.